Laughing, eh? You know, you must have participated in the Cinderella dance.
I was in church at that time.
No, you were in part of the Cinderella dance. The funny thing during that time is, as the social academic work was going on, people were eyeing whose shoe to take.
We need to ask Charles his experience.
The one person I'm very sure must never have participated in that. There's no way you can see Honorable Mjunganda getting involved in those kinds of things.
Charles, what's your experience?
Experience about?
About that song, Red, Red Wine, after the academic bit of the social and then the mixing up of the boys and the girls.
I thought Sam, you became naughty only in old age.
Charles, you're stammering around the question.
NBS Frontline. The Balalo issue has been perhaps one of the most complex puzzles for the NRM and for President Museveni in modern history, with its multiple orders and ever-shifting deadlines as those that wield power drag their feet.
The issue of Balalo well, to come down to discuss with the Acholi people, to find better terms and ways in which they can amicably accommodate the Balalo people, then they may as well find it very challenging.
At the height of the standoff between the Acholi and Balalo settlers, President Yoweri Museveni issued the explicit Executive Order No. 3 in May 2023, forbidding Balalo from settling in Northern Uganda, citing indiscipline.
The President is coming. I expect him to listen very well what the landowners are saying, not politicians what they are saying.
As predicted by the skeptics, the order was deferred in July, and it was the third time in a row as the President was eating his orders, leaving the question to fester as it had for the decades.
There are some political brokers, power brokers, who are much interested in the issue of the land in the Acholi sub-region. Me, I'm seeing beyond the Balalos. It is not only the Balalos. There are people behind the Balalos.
But the Balalo question is not the only one that remains unresolved. Led President Idi Amin Legacy's legacy is equally sticky, attracting mixed reactions about his legacy.
If we say Idi Amin should not be remembered, because people are killed during his regime, what are you telling people about yourself?
President Yoweri Museveni disagrees sharply with those nostalgic about the late head of state and made his stand clear in a stinging letter to the Minister of Education.
He didn't work with the parliament, so he also never stormed the parliament. He also never stormed a judiciary.
So that one is true, that Museveni has a parliament, or there is a parliament, which he overruns as and when he wants to do so.
Is it time to discuss the legacy of past leaders and how their memory should shape the future of a country that just made 61 years of independence? This is The Frontline. Frontline.
A very good evening and welcome to this edition of The Frontline on NBS TV. My name is Charles Mwangu. Before I introduce the panel that I have tonight, the controversy of what legacy did Idi Amin Dada leave in the country? Is it worth celebrating, or can we still continue the vilification of Idi Amin? The Amin of his years. He left power in 1979, but still being debated today, and comparisons are emerging. What do those mean to contemporary Uganda? What is the place of other past leaders? And the president's reply, or the president's position on that application to establish an Idi Amin Institute, where he says Amin came to power unconstitutional, and people are asking, did Yoweri Museveni come to power constitutionally? Or which Ugandan president actually came to power through the constitution over the last 61 years that Uganda has been independent? Many questions arise there. The controversy over the balalo Are they a tribe? Are they an ethnic community? Who are they? Why are they being chased from settling in a part of the country? Very controversial views there. And an operation launched in Acholi sub-region called Balalo Must Go. The bigger question is, Balalo must go where? How did they end up in Northern Uganda? Do they have a right to settle in any part of the country if they are Ugandans? I've had talk about them not being Ugandans, settling in that part of the country, but with government protection. Do they actually have that government protection? And the divided opinion within Acholi sub-region itself over people who support the Balalo being and settling in Acholi, who say we are coexisting peacefully with them, and those who think these are land grabbers roaming the plain lands of northern Uganda, destroying crops of traditional agriculturalists in northern Uganda. But also the controversy, was there a deliberate effort to disenfranchise, if I could use that word, the Acholi, formerly cattle keepers, now with no cattle, having had to endure a 2 decades war in which they were displaced and had to live in camps for internally displaced persons, and now coming back into their lands, now competing where they find themselves competing with other people just walking into those areas. How will that controversy be resolved? President Yoweri Museveni is heading to northern Uganda, actually should be there tomorrow, to discuss. General Salim Saleh has been camped in northern Uganda to try and resolve this controversy, and of course the hunger for land and more land by different people. And is land in northern Uganda vacant land? Is it without ownership? Who owns it? We'll be discussing some of those and other issues on the front line tonight. I'll begin the introductions of the team that I have, the panel that I have. The Honorable Winnie Kiza missing in action once again, unable to join us on the show. She's a frontliner, but I have 2 frontliners and 2 guests. Let me start at the extreme end. Ofono Opondo, Executive Director at the Uganda Media Center and a frontliner. Very nice to have you, sir.
Thank you, Charles. Good evening to our viewers.
Major Paula Awich, retired. He's been fairly regular on the front line. Doesn't need a lot of introduction, but he's a lawyer and a practicing advocate, worked with the United Nations, and is an avowed supporter of the National Resistance Movement. Very nice to have you, sir.
Good evening, supporter. I'm a director at the ruling party.
Director?
Supporter
External
sounds
affairs.
an underword.
Yes,
I'm a director of external affairs at the mighty NRM. Not only supporter.
Yes.
Direct External Affairs. Very nice to have you. I have from West Nile, Kaps Fungaroo Hassan, a former member of parliament. Very nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. I am glad to be with you. I'm Honorable Fungaroo-Kaps Hassan, the PRO of the organizing committee for the remembrance of Idi Amin activities, memorial lecture, Idi Amin Institute, memorial prayers. I'm also the newly elected Deputy President of the FDC in charge of Northern Uganda. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, very nice to have you. And I have from Kira Municipality, from the Forum for Democratic Change, Honorable Ibrahim Semuju Nganda, who's also a frontliner. Very nice to have you, sir.
Yes, Charles, thank you, and good evening to those who are watching and those who are viewing.
Very nice to have you, gentlemen, and apologies that we don't have a lady on the show tonight. Let's start with the executive order issued by the president that has failed implementation, and ask questions of whether it will actually be implemented finally. And I want to start with you, Ofono Opondo. This controversy over Balalo in northern Uganda, particularly in Acholi sub-region, and the demand by some Acholi leaders that Balalo must quit, which the president seems to agree with, and has written an executive order and says they should get out of those regions. My understanding is that the Constitution under Article 29, I think sub-Article 2E, allows for freedom, among others, to Ugandans to settle in any part, to live and settle in any part of the country. What's happening to that?
that is indeed correct, the position of the Constitution. However, I think the president is being driven, if I may use that word, by the sensitive politics in Northern Uganda, especially arising out of the 2 decades war, where many people in that area probably believe, or perhaps believe, that they were let down by the government. 20 years of war, horrendous war, displacement, and many people abandoned their land and so on. So I think that sensitivity is what the president is, in my view, addressing his mind to. Not that he's not aware that the Constitution allows any Ugandan to settle wherever they want, as long as they do so through the rightful processes, and they are doing so peacefully. Now, who are the balalo in this particular context? They are essentially people of the Banyankole cattle keeping strand. Majority of them initially were nomads. You remember we had the issues of Balaloo in Teso sub-region, in parts of Bunyoro, in parts of Lango. But the current strand of the Balaloo are really big business people, the ones in Acholi sub-region. Because of lack of serious economic activities in the rural areas, there is an abundance of land for grazing large herds of cattle. And so many of the people are relocating. They are finding where can we go and graze land, graze cattle. And they are linking up mainly with actually elites. They could be business, political, or even in the administrative machinery of government. I know, for example, that there are a number of ministers in this government who are not even the original Balalo. I know a minister, for example, from the Greater Bushenyi, who went through another former MP and acquired 2 square miles. 2 square miles is approximately 1,300 acres in Nwoya.
About 1,208 acres.
Yeah, that's approximately.
Approximately 300. Yes, 1,300.
In Nwoya. So we have many people in that category. They are not the original, the traditional Balalo cattle keepers, but these are now business people. They are going there in liaison with actually elites, political, business people, and so on and so forth. And so I think that's what the president is addressing his mind. Now, we have the politics in Acholi. In the current one, you can see that one group is supporting the Balalo. Another group, which perhaps feels cheated, undercut, are accusing them that they are depriving or they are facilitating unfair relationship, business relationship, where they go. If you read the Honorable Mao's letter or his piece he wrote a few days ago, he says people are being given peanuts, what is called peanuts. Now in Uganda, we all know that land transactions are free buyer, free seller.
Willing buyer, willing seller.
Willing buyer, willing seller. So there's nothing to say peanut.
Now, let me put a quick question.
So I think that's what the president is addressing. Is
why
the political sensitivity of the land particularly where people feel let down.
Why are his decisions, when you put your pen to paper as a president of the republic and issue something you call an executive order, it comes as big as they come?
Yes.
And actually leaders are saying in 2017, the president issued his first executive order. It wasn't listened to. He repeated in 2021, 2020. He repeated another one in May 2023. And then he's gone back on his word, given extension upon extension. Why is the president not being decisive, number one? And what is that is defeating him?
I think it is the underestimation of the business relationship between and among the people who have entered this relationship. To take an example, if I have acquired one square mile, 640 acres, and I've paid, for example, even if you call it nominal, 200,000 shillings per acre to graze my cows over the next 5 years, and it is written, how would the executive order restore, compensate me who entered a free business arrangement? So I think it is the failure to understand how big this is. And therefore, and I've said, these are all powerful business people. When you are making policy, you expect that those interests, if they are powerful, they will try to negotiate their way out of a conundrum like this one.
Thank you.
Like I've given you, if you have perhaps two, three, 4 ministers in that category, you have big business people who have gone there. You don't expect them, just because the president has written an executive order and I have entered in a free arrangement to vacate. You saw the one where there was not such entrenchment, the one in Teso, the one in Lango. People moved out.
Thank you.
Because there was no financial transactions involved.
Thank you. Major Paula, which let me come to you quickly. Many people watching this controversy, and what appears to be unanimity among, a majority of actually leaders are united in this. A delegation led by the Chief Justice had a meeting with the President before. They've held meetings with General Salim Saleh, but actually sub-region is an area where the NRM has found new love lately. What does this controversy mean to that new love?
I mean, any contradiction that would not augur well with the government or with the party, you know that it would be destructive in our people relationship. And that is why it has to be addressed. I mean, it is not rocket science that once I am your friend and we agree, as you said, we are auguring well, and a contradiction comes between me and you, that tend to erase that well-being. It's bad, and therefore it needs to be addressed. But you will know that, like you had asked earlier, why the orders were stayed. It's because of emerging concerns. And this is not the first time that a president gives a directive and he listens. Even if you took at street vendors, many times you can say we have chased the street vendors, and then many other opinions come up and they want to consult and they will say it on many other issues. And I think that is a virtue than a vice, because if a president can listen, what's wrong with that? Because
does that raise questions about the kind of intelligence, the kind of homework he does or he's given before he issues an executive order like that? Or does it reveal a fairly indecisiveness or maybe a weakness on the part of the president?
It's not it's not lack of decision or indecisiveness, because you remember at the first time when the implementation of that order came up, Brigadier Kanyesige, who was the division commander then, effectively implemented. In fact, Brigadier Kanyesige, my friend, is himself a Muralo, but effectively took up the order until, again, as we are saying, new concerns come up, and the president is not so naive not to listen. And then he will say, okay, if that is what we're saying, let's listen. But not that it was a failure of intelligence. It's just the ability to not appear to be seen to be dictating. It's a virtue of listening and accommodating new concerns. It doesn't mean that if he listens, he will not proceed. He just said, stay it, I want to listen to you. And it is the process which is ongoing. But once it is cleared, it will be effected. So therefore, these contradictions that is coming up is really much being addressed. And you see, the love situation that you are talking about, the government has a wider approach to issues. For example, you will know that...
outside of government, I'm talking about the party. The party has just found new love in Northern Uganda. It's the area of NRM's biggest growth as a political party in terms of support, after many years of rejection.
Of course, I use the government because the party is a ruling party in power, because it's the party which marketed its manifesto, and the people voted on the ground of that manifesto, and it formed the government. But even if we limit ourselves to the party, we as a party chairman, the president is very alive to the concerns of everybody. And that is why he consults again and again and again. So that when a final decision is taken, it's not taken in haste, it's taken when everybody is heard. I'm sure you are alive to Article 44 of the Constitution, which provides, one of them is that you must hear the other party, a right to be heard. So since the Balaloo themselves, and also those they are with, raise their concern that, look, this is how we see it, this is how the transaction has been. That is the point that the president said. Article 44 said, I must listen to you. Remember, Article 44 only provides 4 things: hearing, for against slavery, torture, and habeas corpus. So under all circumstances, you must listen. And that is the provision the president is saying.
I have read the executive order, and you're a lawyer, and I'm wondering whether it actually stands legal scrutiny, because matters of settlement, matters of land acquisition are matters of law.
Of course, it's lawful, but if you want us to go to that direction, I have always told my friends that laws are not interpreted outside court, but as it stands, the president has the power to issue that executive order.
Is it
but
enforceable?
My other land friends would say what they want, but I think that would be debated at the appropriate forum. But he has the power, and he has done it, and we want to see how effective it is.
My question is its enforceability.
The enforceability is very easy. Because the state apparatus is there. I already told you that the first one, Brigadier Kanyesge, was about to finish the job. For us, as a disciplined army, and with sister forces like the police, it takes a very short time for an order of a commander-in-chief to be effected. So the enforceability, as long as it is given to the rightful state apparatus from the commander-in-chief, they said evict them. Like I told you, Brigadier Kanyesge had tried, he had started even using army helicopters. It is easy. So the enforceability would be in doubt if we had a disciplined state, disciplined state apparatus. If the commander-in-chief's orders or instructions are in doubt or doubted. But in this case, it's a simple task waiting for just a signal from the commander-in-chief. So let the commander-in-chief, who is our party chairman, do his consultation.
There is a belief, just before I come to Honorable Kaps and Honorable Semuju, there's a belief that actually the government is hand in glove with this Balalo, that it has given them tacit approval, tacit support. Actually, leaders claim that the Balalo are armed people. They threaten, they have means, they have resources, and that they have a large wave of them moved at a time when the country was under lockdown. That the movement into Acholi largely starts in 2017, grows around 2020 when movement of both persons and animals was restricted.
But of course, as you said, it's a hearsay, it is a conspiracy, I mean, it is a school of thought of some people. But you may wish to know that President Museveni, since his childhood, has been against nomadism. He has actually stated and done that he has always wanted settled nomads in their area. And also, we could judge this hearsay or school of thought from a policy position taken. Because if there was no non-policy position taken by government that this is what we are doing, then the other one becomes speculation.
Thank you.
And that is why I told you already, if that was a policy position, then why the in-depth that Brigadier Kanyesge had gone in? So I think for now we could leave speculation to speculation. We would judge government by policy, non-policy positions taken, if it was to support Balaloo being there.
Thank you. Honorable Fungaroo-Kaps, in a country that's still struggling to find cohesion, what does a controversy like a group of Ugandans settled in another part of the country cause so much commotion in a country? What does that mean to a country struggling to find cohesion and to live with itself?
Yeah, thank you very much. This matter of the Balalo should not be brought in to the general question of national cohesion, national unity in Uganda among the rest of the Ugandans. First of all, who are these Balalo? Are they Ugandans? Most of these Balalo who have come and have moved to the north are not Ugandans. Some of them are from Tanzania. We talked to them. Some of them are from Congo. Others are from Rwanda. Those who came from Tanzania were expelled by the government of the Republic of Tanzania. It's on record. We talked to them. I also want to bring it and make it a point here.
Does that suggest they are not Tanzanian? How could the government of Tanzania expel?
They are not Tanzanians.
They are not Ugandans?
They are not Ugandans.
Who are they?
This is a question we must establish. Either they are Rwandese or Congolese. We need the Congolese government to speak about them. Because the Tanzanians have spoken. In Uganda we are speaking now. But the issue is here. These Balalo have come to occupy land and displace people. There is a program, a deliberate program to make them settle. They are aided by power. Because you hear from them. They are not only in Acholi. I must make this clear to you. In West Nile, we have gone through them, and the person speaking here, me, myself, I'm a victim of their being harassed. We started expelling them from Obongi. We gathered over 3,000 heads of cattle, around 2015 to 17 there. And we asked them to move away. The brigade commander for Moyo plus police and army, they were deployed on us. The chairman of LC5 then of Moyo district, Mr. Vukoni, together with us, we united ourselves and we spoke to those people that, please, you go. We have told you slowly, you go. The Balalo are very arrogant people. They tell us, we shall call commander, so and so. And they call, and you hear somebody speaking in the background. There was one who threatened the LC3 chairman then of Gemara sub-county, Mr. Awami Sam Longa, that he was a general and these are his cattle. He did not want these people to be harassed. For us, we told them in plain language, the army is for Uganda. And you are presenting it to us that this army is yours, the commanders are yours. Okay, we agree. Because of the nepotism in the army, those who have been promoted are largely Balalo people or Banyankole. But we don't dismiss the fact that we have also people in the army. The officers are yours. Take them. The rank and file are ours. We need them. If this issue is supposed to be resolved by the army, let us speak to the army. Let the Balalo officers support the Balalo, and the rank and file support the people of the north. So that was the statement. We reached a point of consensus finally that let the Balalo with their 3,000 heads of cattle collected from Obongi and parts of Lefori in Moyo move along the road. We told them go along the road. So this is what happened in our case.
You were a legislator.
Yes.
The Constitution allows Ugandans to settle in any part of the country.
Yes.
Weren't you acting contrary to the constitution
The problem,
as a lawmaker?
The problem was this. Those people came, they were not grazing according to the norms of grazing there. Our cattle grazing methods were this. Cattle share watering points. Theirs, when they have taken a piece of land, they don't want another cattle to come and drink from the same river. Secondly, our cows could not be driven through gardens of people without feeling sorry. But for the balalo, even if they drive their cattle through your garden, you are supposed to apologize to them instead of them apologizing to you.
You're whipping up sentiment, aren't you?
I mean, this is what happened to me. I was chased with guns like this. I'm telling you a story.
Up sentiment.
No, I'm telling you a story which happened to me, and we have captured it on camera. You see, if you want this, because of the advancement of science and technology, in the rural areas, there are also cameras like this in Obongi. Obongi people are not joking subjects. We got evidence because we know you don't see what is happening there. And we have our evidence to you, to be ready to be presented to you. So what happened to me was, we deployed cameras, powerful cameras with long zoom lens like this. We captured the DISO of Moyo. We have the brigade commander. And the DISO was transferred eventually to Masaka. When we presented these things that, okay, you see, these machine guns deployed now to defend Balalo cattle keepers. Our resolution is this. We have a common problem in Northern Uganda. From Obongi, we went to Madiokolo, to Yumbe, to Nebi, and the chairman of the LC5 of Pakwach district, who is now seated there, was the speaker of Nebi District Council. We sat together with them. Honorable Dongauto, Honorable Ogama Ismail of Madiokolo, we came and addressed a press conference here. After that, and then Honorable Mapenduzi, when he was chairman of LC5, we addressed, we said, Mr. President, it's now, this is going to be resolved by the army. This is what we get from the Balalo. And the Balalo are calling their army officers. Give us an order that the army officers who are Balalos who support the Balalo. The rank and file soldiers,
this is
what we made clearly. And we thank the president.
Isn't your argument a contradiction when you say Balalo are non-Ugandan, but you're saying these same people have army officers who are supporting them?
Kagame is not a Ugandan, but he was an army officer here.
So they were calling Kagame?
No, I'm giving you an example.
I'm asking.
There are still some non-Ugandans who are in the army of Uganda. You think the Banyarwandas have gone all? Some of them who were here with the Rejema, with the Kagame, with the who, they have remained in the army. And these are the ones who are called. And they speak in favor of this Balalo here.
You're aware, Honorable Fungaroo-Kaps, that the Constitution lists. So are you talking about Rwandan citizens or Banyarwanda?
Is Kagame Ugandan? No, this is an example. His Excellency Paul Kagame, is he a Ugandan?
He's the president of Rwanda.
I mean, is he Ugandan? A Ugandan being a president of another country?
No, I'm asking you.
The truth here is, we had people who are not Ugandans. There is one called General James Kabarebe, a good friend of mine. Kabarebe. We met when I was Shadow Minister of Defense and Security. We went for an official duty in Rwanda. The whole Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs, we were there in Rwanda. And they were hosted by General Kabarebe. He told us his story. How he started in Makerere, he was born in the Congo, he started in Makerere, and then he joined the NRA Bush War, then he joined the PF, they fought in Rwanda, and again they went to fight in Congo. So, do you think all these people have gone? Some of them could be here in the army now, and they are the ones who are giving big headedness to this Balalo here. They want to bully us. Because they think all the army officers are their people. Our own are very small. They think like this because they fear being not promoted. They fear not being appointed as ministers. Money for the political leaders now who are selling land in Northern Uganda. The money is in the hands of the friends or the relatives of the Balalo. The guns are with them. Appointment, political power is with them. So our people are being reduced to like this, begging like this. The way forward is this. This is a common problem for the whole of Northern Uganda.
Are there people in...
Let the people of the North speak with one voice and let the Balalo live at the same time. Not that you chase them from Acholi, they go to West Nile. If you chase them from West Nile, they go to Lango.
Are there people in... let me change my question to you. Do you own land in any other part of the country?
Owning land in town, we have actually told the Balalo at that time, if you want to come and stay in Obongi,
You come to Obongi town. You come and build in town. Come and do business in town. In Moyo, in Arua. You go to Arua. All tribes of Uganda are there. Have you heard of anybody being expelled from Arua town or Arua city? The problem is the Balalo are expelling us from the land. By the way, the future is very bad. What is going to happen in Northern Uganda will be similar to what happened in Australia against the Aboriginals. When white people left Europe, aided by power of colonizing power, they went to Australia. Now they call themselves Australians. The real natives of the Australian population, the Aboriginals, have been exterminated. There is a new war, new warfare called the I War. I War. It is taught in war colleges. I War means information war, individualized war. They take your thumbprint, your eye, your genes, DNA, and they can exterminate a whole line of a clan like this. When the Balalo have settled in your area, you know that you are not going to produce children with the rate that will fill that area. Because they will inject you with some kind of chemicals where you cease producing.
You're spreading,
it happened.
No, you're spreading things that you can't verify.
It happened in America. This is science, not just hearsay.
And what happened?
You have seen the Red Indians in America.
Yes.
The original natives of the U.S.
Have they been exterminated?
You go and count them, read them. There is a book. I wish I came with them. Okay, there is one book here which I want to give you. I don't know whether you have read this book.
Authored by who?
Have you seen this book? The Rise of the I War. Identity, Information, and the Individualization of Modern Warfare by Colonel O'Neill. This is from the U.S. United States Army War College. How they use information to track people individually.
Yes.
This thing of Uganda happening today.
What is the link between cattle and
no, I mean, this is how, when they know you, they know the land is here, the Mulalo are settled here, there is now a clan of the Balalo.
You said you succeeded in chasing them out of Obongi.
They came back. After they fired me with the bullets, they thought removing Fungaroo from parliament will save them. Let them wait. Actually, people, Lango people recently from the area of this district where you cross with the Masindi ferry port. Recently there was a problem there. So we are saying we don't want problems with the Balalo. Your Excellency, Mr. President, you are our president, because Uganda cannot have two presidents. You are the president today. You are ours, you are also for the Balalo. You avoid this giving of contradictory orders. This thing of like no movement of cattle to Northern Uganda except with the permission of the Minister of Agriculture. And who is the Minister of Agriculture? Bright Ramarema or somebody close to that. And Bright Ramarema plus Balalo or minus Balalo, is there any difference? These are the same people. They say, okay, no movement of cattle except with the approval of the Minister of Lands. And who is the Minister of Lands? Nabakoba. Is there a difference? This, you are moving within the same network. President
Which network?
This thing of saying
you're speeding.
accept, President Museveni is just deceiving us. He's giving time, buying time for the Balalo to sit properly. That, okay, you get this agreement, you sign, wasting time like this. President Museveni doesn't want the Balalo to leave Northern Uganda. That's the reality. He's facilitating them to settle there. General Salim Saleh and Museveni are like this. This one speaks this way, the other one will speak the other way. They first sit in their sitting room and discuss, and then one person speaks. You think one is your friend, the other one is your enemy. They are the same on this issue of Balalo.
I've listened to you. Let me listen to
So the Balalos must leave Northern Uganda. If they don't leave today, they'll leave tomorrow.
Is there a risk that by the way you're speaking, you're spreading hate against the people who might be innocent?
This one I have been taken to court. Me, like you see me like this, I'm a suspect. Because there is a court registered against me. But when we prepared ourselves to go and defend ourselves in court, with the people West Nile as witnesses lying like this, the Balalo vanished. We have our lawyers. We have informed them. There's a case there. Now I've seen they are circulating another case against Olanya Gilbert. Let Olanya Gilbert go to the court. Let all the people of Northern Uganda go to the court. They build a big prison for all of us, and we go to the prison, all of us. Because the courts are theirs, the police are theirs.
Let me bring in Honorable Semujunganda here.
There is unfairness in this thing.
How does an issue as controversial as this get resolved? Because there is a risk that legitimate Ugandans have bought land in a part of the country, they've settled there, and then the political class mobilizes one community against another.
See, this matter is a very difficult one. The MPs from, I think, mainly Rango, during when they raised this matter in Parliament, I think it must have been either the last or the other Parliament, they said Rango is not Buganda, where you just go and settle. Rango is not Buganda. Mr. Museveni, in the matters of Balalo, is conflicted. Is conflicted, and it's going to be very difficult for him to have that matter resolved. I think if individuals, one person moves to go and settle, I don't think that will be as a problem as when they appear. They may not, but they may appear to be ferried. There is someone ferrying. Let me take you back to conversation Mr. Museveni had with Wafula Ogutu. At least you and I worked at Munta. Mr. Museveni wanted to create a district called Zimbabwe. And Wafula told him it will cause you a problem with the baganda. He said, where are baganda? They are not there. They are in Wakiso and Usiro. So he said, he didn't use the word Wakiso. He said they are in Usiro, and Wafula also wanted Bujiri to be created as a district. And Museveni said, no, you are going to cause him problems in Busoga. He said, but for you with Zimbabwe, it is not a problem. For me with the Bujiri, it is a problem. If you look at most of the districts, some of the districts in Uganda, from Lyantonde to Zimbabwe, Nakasongola, I think is Bali now a district of Ono.
No, it's not.
Museveni at least created these districts for Balalo deliberately.
Is Balalo a tribe? Is it an ethnic community? What is it?
Whichever it is.
No. What is it?
Ofono gave you a profile. I have visited Ankole. There are people in Ankole who are cultivators, but there are also people in Ankole who are herdsmen. When you are speaking about Balalo, you are not speaking about Karamajong, because they are as vulnerable as any other person in Uganda. Balalo today no longer represents herdsmen who are innocent people just looking after cows. We're talking about people who are in power. By the way, in the world, when they are starting, the way it nearly caused the problem. The Baganda there had even to be told that Moraro, the one of Ofono as a Muchaka instructor, Moraro doesn't mean a Moraro. We are saying, but at parade they are saying Moraro Jew, Moraro. Said, so even at the parade, Moraro must be above a Muganda. You can speak to those guys who are in the
So are you
world.
suggesting that these migrations and settlements are older than the period we're discussing?
People we are talking about today, those who are complaining think they are induced, they are not going on their own. That's why the Honorable Fungaroo and many politicians from Northern Uganda, they are speaking about Balalo. We are speaking about the same people in Gomba. They come and settle on a piece of land. They are looking after their cows, no longer using sticks, but guns. So these guns are, I mean, there is no Museveni is going to allow you, even if a whole village has one gun, you can come and bomb it.
If you are not a Mulana.
So so this matter is a controversial matter. It's a political matter. It's not people who are just looking for pasture and water to go and graze their cattle. I know that Mr. Museveni has held a meeting of Balalo from Tanzania, from Rwanda, from Congo, from Uganda. And in that meeting, he was telling them they are a very big group in East Africa, that if only they united and worked together, they will be prosperous. And he said the problem is that what Ofono said is that you are too nomadic. You need to do the following. First, you need to send your children to school. 2, you need to buy land and settle. That he has told them. And he said he can help them with education. That's how he goes to start that school where people are not paying money.
Which school is that?
He's spoken about it many times. Are you hearing it for the first time?
No,
Charles?
you're saying that
He
school.
has
And I'm asking which school that is.
So
is that the only school where people don't pay money?
Established by the president, who is preaching universal primary education. The controversy is that he pays school fees for each of the child in that school at 700,000, and then he pays 10,000 for every other child of Uganda in any other UPE school. That's the controversy of Onopondo. It's not the only school, but that particular one, he pays school. You need to go and read
which particular school is that you're referring to?
That primary Kanyareru of Mr. Museveni. You need to go and read the story. You need to read the report of the Education Committee in Parliament and former Mitiana Umane MP. And I think that's what caused their problems. But the point is, Charles, is that you are dealing with a president who has a hidden agenda of making Bararo